one thing we haven't quite talked about real quick is taking action. How do we get our athletes? Tracy, you talked about a little bit in having, and I've talked to you before, where you're really empowering the athletes to lead some of the meetings. And but I'd love to hear from all of you. How do we take this? I know, I'm sure the same. I love my athletes. They're tremendous people. They are, any work we throw at them, they're happy to do it. But I want them to take some action and lead. And how do we get them to go to that next step? I'd love to hear how you're already doing it or any thoughts on that. Tracy, why don't you go? Because I've heard you talk about that already.
I think we foster, the idea of like captains, right? And then even from that concept of using your class and delegating and sharing that responsibility of leadership. And then what's the building block behind that? What is the junior class doing and how can they support leadership? And what does leadership look like from that level? And if from the sophomore class to the freshman class, I think walking in the door, it's this idea that no one's a bystander. Everybody is an active contributor to what we're doing. And yes, as freshmen, you get more time to figure that out. But that's ultimately what we're looking for. Right now during Zoom meetings, we've kind of, Greg took on the bulk of kind of getting things going. But then we've gave it to the seniors and they ran it, and then the sophomore class and then junior class. And, our incoming freshmen just ran it this past weekend, and, the coaches aren't there. This is on them, and they get to come together as a class to lead the group. And just to even hear the upperclassmen talk about how much more they learned about those individuals in that moment, it is really cool. So those are just kind of little things that we put in place. I think another thing is when they come in to talk to us is encouraging them to follow up with their teammates, or to, giving them the power behind like, okay, I hear you and your opinion is valid and the way you're feeling is absolutely okay. Now what? You know what I mean? And so like, let's have that conversation, and it may not land right the first time, but that's why you get to have a second one and a third one. And so continuing to foster that line of communication and not just trying to like, okay, we'll solve it. And hey, we'll go have that conversation for you and we'll address this. It's, you know what, you guys, you step into this. Let's see where they're really at. Have you asked them how they are? Have you asked her what her background is? Have you, what is she really feeling behind that action? And so just kind of fostering that open line of communication.